The NFL Draft, a yearly tradition for football heads that helps to bring new prospects into the league. There are certainly legendary classes, such as that of 1983, which consisted of a multitude of Hall of Famers like John Elway and Dan Marino. There's also terrible drafts, such as the 2013 class, which contained 11 quarterbacks, all of whom are either out of the league or sitting on the bench as backups. Today, however, I'd like to talk about a particularly interesting draft which occurred only 2 years ago, the 2017 NFL Draft. This class brought stars like Jamal Adams and Patrick Mahomes, as well as a few apparent busts like DeShone Kizer. The Cleveland Browns held the first overall pick, and with it selected Myles Garrett, a defensive end out of Texas A&M. But what if things had gone a little differently?
With the first pick in the 2017 NFL Draft, the Cleveland Browns select Mitchell Trubisky, quarterback, North Carolina.
What if the Cleveland Browns selected Mitchell Trubisky first overall? This isn't an outlandish question. After all, the Browns had gone 1-15 the season before and had started 3 different quarterbacks, none of which had looked promising. Analysts and fans alike had connected the dots between Trubisky, an Ohio native who had a breakout season in North Carolina, and the quarterback-needy Browns. It seemed to be a match made in heaven. But then there was Myles Garrett, the menacing edge rusher from Texas A&M, who seemed to be the best talent in the draft at any position. The Browns had to choose between a guaranteed star or a risky prospect in a position of need. In this scenario, Sashi Brown, the general manager, decides to draft who he thinks will help the franchise the most and goes with Trubisky. Of course, this causes a massive domino effect for the rest of the draft, so I'll go over a few of the important changes. This is the original 2017 NFL Draft results from the first round. Here are my projected changes for the draft if Trubisky goes number 1. First of all, the Browns, of course, get Mitchell Trubisky to fill the gap at quarterback. Next, the 49ers draft Myles Garrett and don't trade down with the Bears because the quarterback that they were targeting was already taken. Jamal Adams is the backup pick in Chicago, as he is the best player left on the board and an all-star player at safety. Since Jamal Adams was taken by the Bears, the Jets instead looked to fill the hole at quarterback, where they draft Deshaun Watson to be the franchise guy for years to come. Now that Deshaun Watson is taken, the Texans don't trade up for the 12th pick, and the Browns instead draft Derek Barnett to fill their edge needs. And finally, since the Texans missed out on the top 3 quarterbacks, they sit at number 25 and draft the risky DeShone Kizer out of Notre Dame. The 2017 season. This season looks pretty much the same for most teams in the league, aside for a few minor changes. The Browns are still pretty terrible with Trubisky at the helm, although the rookie has shown flashes of brilliance in his short career. The Browns finished 3-13, and Hugh Jackson manages to keep his job for now. The 49ers look pretty awful as well, although Myles Garrett is a complete stud at edge rusher. They still trade for Jimmy Garoppolo and still finish 6-10. The Bears show signs of improvement, at least defensively. The defense finishes top 7 in the league under Vic Fangio. However, this is not good enough to carry an atrocious offense led by Mike Glennon. The Bears finish 5-11 and fire John Fox. The Jets are the team that show the biggest change from the real 2017 season, mostly because of young superstar Deshaun Watson. He has a record-setting year for a rookie quarterback. However, because the defense is so poor, the Jets still only go 8-8 and miss the playoffs. There's a lot of hope in New York, though. The Texans, on the other hand, had one of the worst seasons out of any NFL team. Due to a large number of injuries and DeShone Kizer's awful decision-making, the Texans tank to a 2-14 record earning them the #1 pick in the draft. The 2017 postseason. Since no new teams actually made the postseason in this simulation, I have the same results occurring with the Eagles defeating the Patriots to win Super Bowl 52. The 2018 NFL offseason. The only major change that I could see occurring in free agency is the landing spot of Allen Robinson. The Pro Bowl wide receiver came to Chicago on a 3-year deal worth $42 million, citing Mitchell Trubisky as a big reason why he signed. However, in this scenario, the Browns are the teams with Trubisky and a need for talented receivers, so they are able to land Robinson. On the trading side of things, since the Browns now have an expensive wideout to pair with their young quarterback, they aren't targeting Jarvis Landry, the young superstar wide receiver that the Dolphins are looking to part ways with. Landry was traded to the Browns in real life on March 9, 2018 for a 4th round and a 7th round pick. In this situation, the Dolphins choose to trade Landry to the Chicago Bears in exchange for Adrian Amos and a 6th round pick. This leads us into the draft where there are too many changes to count. The important ones include the Texans drafting Sam Darnold, the Browns drafting Saquon Barkley, the Cardinals trading up to select Josh Allen, the Bears getting Baker Mayfield, the Bills taking Josh Rosen, the Jets selecting Derwin James, and the Jaguars taking Lamar Jackson. This all leads to one more extremely important piece of business before the 2018 season, Khalil Mack. Late in August, both the Raiders and Khalil Mack were still at a standoff due to Mack wanting a new deal. The Raiders, however, did not want to pay him his fair asking price, so they put him on the trading block. They viewed the Chicago Bears as a bad team with an inconsistent offense, and they thought that they would have a high first-round pick. This was a major reason why they traded Mack to Chicago. However, now they see that the Bears have a fantastic young defense and an offense that is getting stronger, being led by an offensively minded Matt Nagy. This prompts them to look at other teams and choosing to trade Mack to the Buffalo Bills for 2 first-round picks. Even though the Bills made the playoffs the season before, the Raiders view the Bills as an aging team with a poor defense and an offense with no real direction. Gruden believes he is trading for 2 top 5 picks. The 2018 NFL season. The Cleveland Browns, the team that started this whole butterfly effect, seemed iffy at best. Their defense is slowly getting better, however they don't have enough playmakers on either side of the ball. Trubisky looks improved and Saquon Barkley looks like a superstar, however a slow 2-5 start is enough to get Hugh Jackson fired. The Browns managed to rally back at the end of the season and go 7-9, but it isn't enough for them to get into the postseason. The Bears, on the other hand, break out. Baker Mayfield and Matt Nagy seem to click together, and the new Chicago receiving corps helps the offense to take flight. The defense is still young and dominant, but a lack of a pass rush keeps the unit out of the top 5. The Bears end up going 11-5 and make the playoffs for the first time since 2010. The 49ers are once again a bad team with no real offensive weapons and a ton of injuries. Myles Garrett makes the Pro Bowl, but he can't stop the Niners from going 5-11 and ending last in their division. On a different note, the Jets finally take off. Deshaun Watson regresses slightly this season, however he is still good enough to carry the offense. And Derwin James helps turn this defense into a monstrous unit. The Jets end up going 12-4, but barely miss out on the AFC East Champions title to the Patriots. Both the Cardinals and the Bills have hope in their future with their young QBs, but a lack of surrounding talent is what kills their season. Both teams go 6-10, but both coaches keep their jobs. The Houston Texans are much improved and finish 7-9. Sam Darnold is a star in the making, and the defense is ferocious when healthy, but the offensive line is one of the worst in the league. The Jaguars are probably the most interesting team in this simulation. When Blake Bortles starts off slow, they decide to bench him for Lamar Jackson. Jackson looks great, however a lack of playmakers on offense holds him back. The defense regresses too, but the Jaguars are able to finish 8-8 and could have a bounce-back year in 2019. The 2018 playoffs. Both the Bears and Jets make it through to the divisional round, but both lose, and the final result is the same, with the Patriots beating the Rams in the Super Bowl. The 2019 offseason. The main trade that will be different here is the Odell Beckham Jr. exchange. Since the Browns are paying a hefty amount for Allen Robinson, they don't want to target Beckham, similar to them not targeting Landry. Instead, the Jaguars are the team that trades a first-round pick to the Giants, getting a star receiver in his prime for Lamar Jackson to throw to. In this draft, the major changes include N'Keal Harry to the Jets and Jawan Taylor to the Bears. The Browns also get stronger with the addition of Ed Oliver. The 2019 season. In the final season of this simulation, I see the Browns being a decent team. They are not great, but improvements by their young core lead to a 9-7 record and a playoff berth. The 49ers are also able to improve, with a great defensive line and speedy offense. However, they only manage a 7-9 record, missing out on a wild card slot. The Chicago Bears are great once more. Baker Mayfield and Matt Nagy help the Bears to a 13-3 record with a high-flying offense and stout defense. They are undoubtedly the Super Bowl favorites. The Jaguars, Jets, and Texans are all incredible teams as well, and make for must-watch TV in the AFC. In Duval, Lamar Jackson, Nick Chubb, and OBJ all combine to form the most exciting offense in the league. The defense is still aging, but they find a groove and bring back the magic of Saxonville. The Jags go 12-4 and manage to win the AFC South. The Jets are another young team filled with superstars, led by Deshaun Watson and Le'Veon Bell. Derwin James is the centerpiece on the other side of the ball, and all of the talent on that defense helps to make the Jets a top 3 group that opposing offenses hate to go up against. The Jets go 13-3 and finally beat the Patriots to win the AFC East. The Texans are a much improved group, with Sam Darnold breaking out in Bill O'Brien's scheme, and a defense that needed to finally prove itself. The Texans are finally able to put it all together, and they go 10-6 to lock up a wildcard slot. The 2019 playoffs. In the NFC side of the playoffs, the Bears beat the Packers in the divisional round and go on to face the Saints in the NFC Championship game. They come out on top, with the Saints defense not being able to hold up against the number 1 offense. The Chicago Bears are headed to Super Bowl 54. In the AFC, the Texans face the high-powered Chargers and manage to hold back the intense offense in overtime, moving on to the divisional round. There they face a divisional rival Jaguars, but the Jags take a strong win and move on to the AFC Championship. The Browns stun the Patriots in the wild card matchup, but the Jets are too much for Cleveland, and a resounding victory over the Browns propels the Jets to the AFC Championship. In one of the most exciting games of the season, the Jets and Jaguars go into overtime in the Conference Championship, where the Jaguars just able to edge out the Jets, and they punch their ticket to the Super Bowl. Super Bowl 54. Jaguars, Bears. 2 high-powered offenses dueling for the Lombardi. Mayfield and Jackson are neck and neck until Baker throws a pick to Jalen Ramsey at the end of the game, essentially finishing the Bears off. The Jaguars won a thriller by the score of 30-27. The Lombardi Trophy is headed to Duval. All of this stemmed from one single decision way back in 2017. Mitchell Trubisky or Myles Garrett. If each pick in a draft, or even just each pick in the first round, has this much influence on the league, just imagine how many different possibilities there are with how the league could look today. It intrigues me that one choice that a general manager makes can alter the future for not just their team, but each of the 32 multi-million-dollar franchises in the league. Just keep this in mind for next year's draft. Everything rides on your team's pick.
The first pick in the 2019 NFL Draft, the Arizona Cardinals select Kyler Murray, quarterback, Oklahoma.
And so it is.